Hi guys. Just wanted to read a little bit to you guys today. I know that you haven't heard me read for the past couple days. Um, Thank you for those that read chapter 5 today, which will be yesterday by the time you guys see this message here. This is Neckbeard, by the way, my bearded dragon. I just wanted to give you guys a chance to listen to me read, kind of go over the things from yesterday. The answer that you should have gotten yesterday from chapter 5 should have been something that was close to really being able to say that Ellen pretended to be Lise, or Anne-Marie's sister Lise. Her family ended up giving her using it, or Lisa's pictures to kind of show that that's what Ellen, or to kind of act like that's who Ellen was. Her father kind of hid her, and then showed the pictures saying that Ellen was really Lise. So you should have been able to pick up on that, and the fact that the Rosens were, don't you jump, the Rosens were actually, hiding. But realistically, the what you should have been able to say, Ellen hiding at their house, Ellen pretending to be Lise, Anne Marie ripping the Star of David off of Ellen there, and then Anne Marie's father, Mr. Johansson, really pretending that that Ellen was his daughter. So we're going to jump into chapter 6 really quickly. I might put the pages up. I haven't decided yet, just so you guys can kind of either choose to listen to me read or read it. There will be a question that follows. I have to kind of decide what that's going to be after I read it to you today. But we're going to be reading chapter 6 of Number the Stars really quickly. It shouldn't take too terribly long. We're going to read really about 9 pages together. So follow along with me if you'd like to, if you have the pages out in front of you. Hopefully Neckbeard and Luna right here aren't too distracting. So, chapter 6. Is the weather good for fishing? We must think what to do, Papa said. They are suspicious now. To be honest, I thought that if they came here at all, and I hoped they wouldn't, that they would just glance around, see that we had no place to hide anyone, and would go away. I'm sorry I have dark hair, Ellen murmured. It made them suspicious. Mama reached over quickly and took Ellen's hand. You have beautiful hair, Ellen. Just like your mama's, she said. Don't ever be sorry for that. Weren't we lucky that Papa thought so quickly and found the pictures? And weren't we lucky that Lise had dark hair when she was a baby? It turned blonde later on, when she was 2 or so. So some of you might actually have kind of a connection to this. When I was little, I had really blonde hair. I don't know if you've seen the pictures that I've shown you guys in class or not, but I had really blonde hair when I was little, but now I have, obviously, brown hair. But some of you may have started off with either really bright hair or really dark hair, and it may have changed color as you got older. So you might have that connection to that there. All right, going on. In between, Pop added, she was bald for a while. Ellen and Anne-Marie both smiled tentatively. For a moment, their fear was eased. Tonight was the first time, Anne-Marie realized suddenly, that Mama and Papa had spoken of Lise. The first time in 3 years. Outside, the sky was beginning to lighten. Mrs. Johansson went to the kitchen and began to make tea. I've never been up so early before, Anne-Marie said. Ellen and I will probably fall asleep in school today. Papa rubbed his chin for a moment, thinking. I think we must not take the risk of sending you to school today, he said. It is possible that they will look for the Jewish children in the schools. Not go to school? Ellen asked in amazement. My parents have always told me that education is the most important thing. Whatever happens, I must get an education. This will only be a vacation, Ellen. For now, your safety is the most important thing. I'm sure your parents would agree. Inga? Papa called Mama in the kitchen, and she came to the doorway with a teacup in her hand and a questioning look on her face. Yes? We must take the girls to Henrique's. You remember what Peter told us. I think today is the day to go to your brother's. Mrs. Johansson nodded. I think you're right, but I will take them. You must stay here. Stay here and let you go alone? Of course not. I wouldn't send you on a dangerous trip alone. Mama put a hand on Papa's arm. If only I go with the girls, it will be safer. They're unlikely to suspect a woman and her children, but if they are watching us, if they see us all leave, if they are aware that the apartment is empty, that you don't go to your office this morning, then they will know. Then it will be dangerous. I am not afraid to go alone. It was very seldom that Mama disagreed with Papa. Anne-Marie watched his face and knew that he was struggling with the decision. Finally, he nodded reluctantly. I will pack some things, Mama said. What time is it? Papa looked at his watch. Uh-oh. Almost 5, he said. Henrique will still be there. He leaves around 5. Why don't you call him? Papa went to the telephone. Ellen looked puzzled. Who is Henrique? Where does he go at 5 in the morning? She asked. Anne-Marie laughed. He's my uncle, my mother's brother, and he's a fisherman. They leave very early. All the fishermen each morning, their boats go out at sunrise. Oh, Ellen, she went on, you will love it there. It is where my grandparents live, where Mama and Uncle Henrique grew up. It is so beautiful, right on the water. You can stand at the edge of the meadow and look across to Sweden. She listened while Papa spoke on the telephone to Uncle Henrique, telling him that Mama and the children were coming for a visit. Ellen had gone into the bathroom and closed the door. Mama was still in the kitchen, so only Anne-Marie was listening. It was a very puzzling conversation. So, Henrique, is the weather good for fishing? Papa asked cheerfully and listened briefly. Then he continued. I'm sending Inga to you to get today with the children, and she will be bringing you a carton of cigarettes. Yes, just one, he said after a moment. Anne-Marie couldn't hear Uncle Henrique's words. But there are a lot of cigarettes available in Copenhagen now, if you know where to look, he went on. And so there will be others coming to you as well, I'm sure. I kind of wonder, just reading this, what he actually means by cigarettes. I don't know if he's actually talking about cigarettes per se, or maybe something else. Something to kind of think about as we continue. But it wasn't true. Anne-Marie was quite certain it wasn't true. Cigarettes were the one thing that Papa missed, the way Mama missed coffee. He complained often. He had complained only yesterday that there were no cigarettes in the stores. The men in his office, he said, making a face, smoked almost anything sometimes. Sometimes like dried weeds, rolled in paper, and the smell was terrible. Why was Papa speaking that way? Almost as if he were speaking in code. What was Mama really taking to Uncle Henrique? So think about this. Okay, we know that from what we've already read in chapters 15 and 16 that there was a shortage of meat because the Nazi soldiers were taking those and eating whatever they could, right? So I wonder, thinking about the whole cigarettes or Papa missing the cigarettes and all that, did the Nazi soldiers actually did the Nazi soldiers actually take their cigarettes maybe? I know that that's kind of an antiquated thing. A lot of people have kind of realized that smoking's bad for us and everything. But, really that was a major thing back then was people that decided to, smoke. It was just their way of relaxing, I guess. And so it was a big deal if it wasn't there because we know that they can be addictive now. So her Papa missed it. Obviously, she knows that they're not there, so she knows that they're speaking in code. I wonder what they're actually meaning by saying cigarettes. Thinking about what I already know about what happens later on in the story, because we've read it, maybe I can tie those two things in together. Then she knew. Right here, actually. Anne-Marie knew it was Ellen. So, instead of actually cigarettes, she knew that the code word, or that the cigarettes were code for bringing somebody like Ellen, somebody whose family was Jewish. We kind of learned in the last chapter that Ellen's family left the city because the Nazis had taken the registry from the synagogue and were trying to actually find all the Jewish people and gather them up and kind of imprison them. We know from our knowledge of the Holocaust that they weren't really trying to imprison them. They were trying to do other things that weren't really that kosher. You all right, dude? He keeps looking over the couch. I think he's trying to jump, but he's not going to. All right. The train ride north along the Danish coast was very beautiful. Again and again they could see the sea from the windows. Anne-Marie had made this trip often to visit her grandparents when they were alive, and later, after they were gone, to see the cheerful, suntan, unmarried uncle whom she loved. But the trip was new to Ellen, who sat with her face pressed to the window, watching the lovely homes along the seaside, the small farms and villages. "Look!" Anne-Marie exclaimed and pointed to the opposite side. "It's Clampenborg and the deer park. Oh, I wish we could stop here, just for a little while." Mama shook her head. "Not today," she said. The train didn't stop at the small Clampenborg station, but the train did stop at the small Clampenborg station, but none of the few passengers got off. "Have you ever been there, Ellen?" Mama asked, but Ellen said no. "Well, someday you will go. Someday you will walk through the park and you will see hundreds of deer, tame and free." Kirsty wiggled to her knees and peered through the window. "I don't see any deer," she complained. "They're there, I'm sure," Mama told her. "They're hiding in the trees." The train started again. The door at the end of their car opened and 2 German soldiers appeared. Anne-Marie tensed. Not here on the train, too. They were everywhere. Okay, I want you to pay attention to that word, everywhere. I know it's going to be backwards for you, but it is written in italics. Definitely know that you need to put extra emphasis on that. Right, Neckbeard? Right? All right. Together the soldiers strolled through the car, glancing at passengers, stopping here and there to ask a question. One of them had something stuck in his teeth. He probed with his tongue and distorted his own face. Anne-Marie watched with a kind of frightened fascination as the pair approached. One of the soldiers looked down with a bored expression on his face. "Where are you going?" he asked. "Gillaleahy," Mama replied calmly. "My brother lives there. We are going to visit him." The soldier turned away and Anne-Marie relaxed. Then, without warning, he turned back. "Are you visiting your brother for the New Year?" he asked suddenly. I remember this, right? So the New Year, if you remember from the previous chapters, Ellen had invited Kirsty and Anne-Marie over to watch her mother light candles for the Jewish New Year, right? They knew that the New Year wasn't actually then, but it was the Jewish New Year that was coming up. Dude, if you don't sit still. So with that, I think the German soldier might be trying to trap them and really get them to give away that they're Jewish, even though we know that they're not. Ellen is, but the family of Anne-Marie is not. Okay? Mama stared at him with a puzzled look. "New Year?" she asked. "It is only October." "And guess what?" Kirsty exclaimed suddenly in a loud voice, looking at the soldier. Anne-Marie's heart sank and she looked at her mother. Mama's eyes were frightened. "Shh, Kirsty," Mama said. "Don't chatter so." But Kirsty paid no attention to Mama as usual. She looked cheerfully at the soldier, and Anne-Marie knew what she was about to say. "This is our friend Ellen, and it's her New Year." That's what she knew she was about to say. Did she actually say it? If she said that, what would happen? I want you to think really quickly. What would happen if Anne-Marie or if Kirsty actually said that it was her friend's New Year? Okay? If you want to, go ahead and just send me a message really quickly what you think would have happened if Kirsty would say that. Okay? Let's find out what she actually says. So, if you're wanting to answer that question, pause the video, send me a message saying what you think would have happened if Kirsty actually said that it was that their friend was celebrating their New Year. Okay, good. Hopefully you did that. If you didn't, good chance to go rewind and answer that question for me and send me a message. Okay? Okay. All right. But Kirsty didn't. Instead, Kirsty pointed at her feet. "I'm going to visit my Uncle Henrique," she chirped, "and I'm wearing my brand new shiny black shoes." The soldier chuckled and moved on. Anne-Marie gazed through the window again. The trees, the Baltic Sea, and the cloudy October sky passed in a blur as they continued north along the coast. "Smell the air," Mama said when they stepped off the train and made their way to the narrow street. "Isn't it lovely and fresh? It always brings back memories for me." The air was breezy and cool and carried the sharp, not unpleasant smell of salt and fish. High against the pale clouds, seagulls soared and cried out as if they were mourning. Mama looked at her watch. I wonder if Henrique will be back yet, but it doesn't matter. The house is always unlocked. Come on, girls, we'll walk. It isn't far, just a little under 2 miles, and it's a nice day. We'll take the path through the woods instead of the road. It's a little longer, but it's so pretty. Dude, chill. Didn't you love the castle when we went through Helsingborg, Ellen? Kirsty asked. She had been talking about Kronborg Castle ever since they had seen it, sprawling, massive, and ancient, beside the sea from the train. I wish we could have stopped to visit the castle. Kings lived there, and queens. So, imagine you were living in Europe back during the time of the actual World War II. How excited would you have been to actually go and see a castle that was there? You can actually go right now to see some of the castles that are in Europe. But it'd be probably pretty cool for a kid to kind of go see a castle, especially when you're really addicted to seeing or to kings and queens, which everybody is at some point in their life. All right. Amory sighed in exasperation with her little sister. They do not, she said. They did in the old days, but there aren't any kings there now. Denmark only has one king anyway, and he lives in Copenhagen. But Kirsty had pranced away, skipping along the sidewalk. Kings and queens, she sang happily. Kings and queens. Mama shrugged and smiled. Let her dream, Anne-Marie. I did the same when I was her age. She turned, leading the way along a tiny twisting street, heading toward the outskirts of the village. Things have hardly changed here since I was a girl, she said. My Aunt Giddy lived there in that house, she pointed, and she's been dead for years, but the house is the same. She always had wonderful flowers in her garden. She peered over the low stone wall and looked at the few flowering bushes as they passed the house. Maybe they still do. But it's the wrong time of year. There are just those few chrysanthemums left. And see over there, she pointed again. My best friend, her name was Helena, lived in that house. Sometimes I used to spend the night with her, but more often she came to my house on weekends. It was more fun to be in the country. Look at this big dude. He's huge. He literally takes up half my... Quite literally. Dude, you're way too big. All right. My brother Henrique always teased us, though, she continued with a chuckle. He told us ghost stories and scared us half to death. The sidewalk ended and Mama turned onto a dirt path bordered by trees. When I walked each morning into town for school, she said, my dog followed me this far. At the end of the path, he turned and went back home. I guess he was a country dog and didn't like town. And do you know what? She went on, smiling. I had named him Trofast, faithful, and it was just the right name for him. Because what a faithful dog he was. Trofast, by the way, means faithful in Danish. Yeah. Every afternoon he was always right here waiting for me to return. He knew the right time. Somehow, sometimes, as I come around this bend, even today, I feel as if I might come upon Trofast waiting still with his tail wagging. But the path was empty today. No people. No faithful dogs. Mama shifted the bag she was carrying from one hand to the other, and they walked on through the woods until the path opened to a meadow dotted with cows. Meadow dotted with cows is kind of a cool little piece of figurative language here. They're not literally dotting the meadow with cows, but they are like saying that there's so many around that it kind of looks like there's polka dots kind of everywhere. Okay? Here the path skirted the edge of the field along a fence, and beyond it they could see the gray sea, ruffled by wind. The breeze moved to the high grass. At the end of the pasture they entered the woods again, and Amory knew they would soon be there. Uncle Henrique's house was in a clearing beyond these woods. Do you mind if I run ahead? She asked suddenly. I want to be the first to see the house. Go on, Mother told her. Run ahead and tell the house we've come home. Then she put her arm around Ellen's shoulders and added, say that we've brought a friend. All right. So, quick little 20-minute video. Not really quick because it was a little bit long. But I want you to kind of think of this, and I'm going to have you guys respond to this question, or a question that's similar to it anyway. we've now had two different situations where Ellen could have been caught by the Nazi soldiers, right? Thinking about that, I want you to kind of put yourself in. Woo! He really jumped far. I want you to put yourself in the position. Sorry, let me grab. Dude, he's running away. Put yourself in the position of Ellen and even Anne Marie's family. What feelings would be going through your mind if you were really close to being captured by the Nazis? I don't want you guys to just say, I'd be so scared. But, there's some other feelings that would go along with just being scared from that instance. What feelings do you kind of see that Ellen, Anne Marie, and her family really had in that in this part of the story? I want you guys to kind of think about that. I'm going to write a question very similar. Please respond on the next part of this and the actual assignment place. Just send me on this assignment that you guys actually watched it, or any questions that you have. I will be giving another assignment today other than just some of the ones that, or other than just what we already had, to kind of keep us going. But I want you guys to chill. Sorry. I'm going to actually kind of videotape myself, probably screenshot myself going through how to answer those things with you as well. But I want you guys to go ahead and, answer that question for me. I will ask it on the next slide. Please make sure that you're doing anything. Remember, if you have any questions about any of the e-learning, please send me a message on Canvas. The discussion board I may not see right away, so the discussion will definitely be there. I'll be able to pop it up. All right, guys, have a wonderful night. Miss y'all. See you soon. Love you.